Mongoose in a long time. I don't know about you guys. Elephant's Memory, 1969. Come on now. That dedication to my longtime media partner, Smokin' Bill, who unfortunately passed away of a heart attack a couple of years ago. In fact, it just marked the 2-year anniversary about a week ago. Also, got to say hi to Frank Mascara, listening back in Youngstown, and Jeff Eggert. Thank you for your support of the Summit on the Closet Classic Theater. I've had so much fun with TING MARKULIN of the Human Beings, our special guest, and going back to the 1960s decade where the human beings were so prominent. Dick Belly, renowned by many, or thought by many, to be one of the greatest lead vocalists to ever come out of this area. Would you agree with that? I thought he just had dynamite pipes.
I mean, I hardly ever could hear him, you know, because like I said, we had stage volume. But, you know, when I heard him back before I got into premieres, I thought he was really great, you know. And I mean, we used to get 3,000 people a night at Idora Park Ballroom.
Wow.
And that, I mean, that right there tells you that something was right.
I'm sitting at Old Tin Pan Alley. I'm spinning 45s. This is back in the day when you had to make some side money before you could hopefully make it as a disc jockey on the air. And I'm playing Nobody But Me. And I have this gentleman get off the bar stool, comes over, and he goes, "You know who's the lead singer on that song?" He goes, "That's me. That's my song." Dick Belly, who left the band, moved out to Colorado. At one point, I do recall hearing that. But,
he's in Austin, Texas now.
He's in Austin, Texas, so he took off from the area. When Belly left the group, the urban legend has it that Joe Walsh wanted to replace him, and the Human Being said no. Is that true or false?
Here's the true story. We got back from the Beach Boys tour in the summer of '68. Dick calls me and says, "I'm quitting." We had gotten the James Gang interest. Capitol was interested in the James Gang. We did that. We were trying to help local bands. And so Capitol said, "Okay, let the James Gang record an album." They did. Capitol turned it down, said it's not what we're looking for.
Wow.
So Dick said he's quitting. Joe Walsh is down because they didn't get signed. And I said, "Joe," I said, "we need a lead man. You know, I mean, I know, you know, you got the James Gang and everything." I said, "But are you interested?" He said, "Yes." So we went on Sunnybrook, on, you know, on the west side, over by St. Christine's Church. And my mom had a house there. We practiced with Joe Walsh in my mother's garage.
That is an amazing story.
Now, here's what happened. It was horrible. Not him, but we couldn't keep up with him.
Really?
I mean, he was just so far ahead of us. And I think it was just a clash of styles, you know. And when we got done, you know, he said, "This isn't going to work." I said, "Yeah, Joe." I said, "You know, we can tell
can't
this
do
isn't
Fun
gonna work."
49.
But the thing that happened was, Dick heard that Joe Walsh was trying out with us, called me back, said, "I don't want it. I'm not quitting." So I said, "Okay," you know, he didn't know that we weren't going to use Joe, and I said, "Okay." I said, "It's better to keep the original thing together," you know. He said, "Yeah," so he agreed. So he stayed in the band again until the following April of '69.
So you guys are also huge, legendary in Japan. We heard the Live Gloria recorded on the Live in Japan album. You didn't want to go to Japan. The band was essentially broken up at that point, but you had to go due to contractual obligations, or you'd be sued.
Dick called me again 2 weeks before we had to leave for Japan and said, "I'm quitting." And I said, "You can't." He goes, "Yes, I can." I said, "No, you can't." I said, "You signed a contract." I said, "If we don't go play this Japan thing," I said, "we're all going to be paying Japan for the rest of our lives." I said, "You need to go." So he said, "Okay." And, you know, we went to Japan, which I'd like to tell you a little bit about that. We got on a plane and, you know, crowded. One seat left. And coincidentally, it was next to Dick Belly, because he looked like a wild man by now. He had this wild hair, and I don't know, he just looked scary. I don't know if I should say this, but I had a couple of, we used to take speed tabs.
Okay.
When we had to drive all night so we wouldn't fall asleep and kill ourselves.
Ting, I can't imagine you on speed, but go ahead.
I had a couple in my pocket, and we were in Anchorage, And I remembered, and I said, Mike, what am I going to do? He goes, throw them away. I said, I'm not throwing these away. I said, here, you take some and I'll take some.
Oh, wow.
So we got on the plane and we take off out of Anchorage, Alaska, and we're going across the Pacific Ocean, and all of a sudden it kicked in and we started talking to everybody. We became friends with everybody, and like this old guy was sitting at another seat up the aisle, 2 or 3 things. His wife was sitting between me and Mike. And she's holding her purse like,
oh, no.
like we're muggers. So I said, hey, I said, where's your husband? She goes, over there. I said, sir, go sit by your wife. You know?
Oh, wow.
And I said, and in fact, I'm going to buy you and your wife a drink. Okay, now I'm cooking. And Mike looks at me and I said, in fact, buy everybody on the plane a drink.
You didn't, did you?
So we started buying drinks for everybody on the plane. I mean, it was a party on the way to Japan, and we told them, they go, what are you doing over there? We said, we're going on a promotional tour. Nobody knows we're coming. We're going to go over there and try to get some interest in the band. Okay, so the plane comes down and lands at the airport, and there's thousands of kids all over the buildings with signs, we love you human beings.
Wow.
And the plane pulls up on the tarmac, that tunnel comes out, okay? 4 policemen come in, say human beings, and we're thinking, oh man, they're going to search us and put us through hell. They told us, you sit. They made everybody else get off the plane. They pulled the tunnel away from the plane and wheeled the steps over to the door. So we had to get out and wave to everybody and walk down the steps like the Beatles.
That is cool. That is the feeling of being the Fab Four right there.
And and they're screaming. And so anyhow, we're going through the airport. They're throwing stuffed animals at us and flowers and toys. I mean, all this stuff. They had some limousines, some Mercedes limousines waiting for us out in front of the airport. Took us to the Tokyo Hilton, where the Beatles stayed, and put us on the 7th floor, had bodyguards at all the entrances, doors, steps, our doors, and kids were still breaking in. You could hear them screaming and them chasing them down the hallways. Opened the window on the 7th floor, this whole crowd of kids down there. We stick our heads out and they're screaming. I mean, it was the Beatles treatment. And we're like, I said, I turned and I said, we're 4 idiots from Youngstown, Ohio. What is all this? I don't understand, And so I looked at Dick Belly, and I said, Dick, you want to quit? We can go back home after this tour, put a show together, come back, stay in Japan for a year, and we'll all be millionaires. He said, I can't stand being with you guys.
Is that what he told you?
Yeah. So I asked him. Now this is going to really be shocking to the Youngstown area. But I asked him, I said, well then what are you going to do if you leave us? He said, I'm going to go with the Pied Pipers.
Dennis's old group.
Yeah. I said, you're going to go with the Pied Pipers? He said, yeah, and I'm going to make stars out of them like I made out of you guys.
Wow.
So I didn't talk to him after that. We did radio shows with interpreters, TV shows. It was just a big attack on Japan, and we did a concert that ended up being the Live in Japan album. We didn't know they were recording us. They never said anything.
And you weren't happy with the performance as a result.
Well, we were breaking up. We got up on stage and didn't care. We didn't care what we did, because we thought this is the end. It was hard to act like you could still, you were still friends and everything. When, after he said that to me, that he made a star out of me, it was like, he punched me in the face.
Like a punch in the gut.
Yeah, and so the album is a collector's album, but it stinks.
Not your best work.
Well, no, because plus we had to use Japanese equipment. I had an amplifier that was the size of a refrigerator, okay? And it had an 8-inch speaker in the middle of the cabinet. The cabinet was like 3 feet by 5 feet. And there was one 8-inch speaker inside of it. And we rehearsed in the afternoon. I blew 3 of them up.
Oh my.
In the afternoon. So I had to turn way down and play like you know. I mean, it was horrible. I mean, I would have never let it be released. You know, after we flew back out of Japan. After that, got off the plane, and I never saw Dick again. You know, after that.
That's a sad story. Hey, we got to say special hello. He was supposed to be on the show. Jack Riblett, Youngstown Rock and Roll History. We've got Bill Allison in here, associated with his great website. What he's done for local bands such as the Human Beings and so many more is second to none.
Jack has done wonders for Youngstown music, you know, the rock and roll music. I don't know how he came up with the idea. I'm so glad he did. It really, if everybody would get on that site, it is so informative, and it lets you know how, I mean, the best music from bands that I've heard is in this area. I go a lot of different places in the country. This place is special. Now, most of the people that live here don't know that. They think every place is like around here with musicians. It's not. We really have something special here. And I'd like to really thank Jack for keeping all that alive. He's done a wonderful job.
And he'll be a guest co-host with me on the show coming in the future. Hope you enjoyed the program tonight in Ting Markulin and our look back on the fabulous 60s decade, particularly with the Human Beings. A special thank you to Noah Hartzler, executive producer, Young Whiz Kid, Brad Savage, program director, Tommy Bruno, the Summit general manager. And you knew we waited till the very end. We'll leave you with a cover of the Isley Brothers, 1962, but done better by the Human Beings off their 1967 Capitol album, the title track, Nobody But Me. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you next Sunday.